You know, in the jungles of Vietnam, survival was often measured in seconds. We're about to dig into this incredible story of how soldiers, faced with a deadly problem in their gear, literally took welding torches into their own hands to forge a lifeline and completely rewrite the rules of a firefight.
It just sounds crazy, right? A soldier's rifle is everything. It's their lifeline. So why on earth would they take a saw to it? Why would they cut apart the one thing that was supposed to keep them alive? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to solve today.
So to really get why they did this, you first have to understand where they were. We need to go deep into the jungles of Vietnam. This was a place where combat was up close, it was fast, it was brutal, and a single moment of vulnerability could be a death sentence.
Just try to imagine the absolute chaos of a firefight. The noise, the confusion, everything's happening at once. And then you hear that one little sound you dread. Click. Your rifle's empty, you can't shoot back, and in that split second, you go from being the hunter to being the hunted. It's a moment of just pure, terrifying vulnerability.
That awful moment, it actually has a name. The reload pause. It's those few, heart-stopping seconds it takes to drop your empty magazine, grab for a new one, and slam it home. Believe me, those seconds feel like an eternity when you're taking fire. This pause, this was the problem they absolutely had to solve. And you know what made that reload pause happen so often? This number, 20. That's how many rounds the standard issue M14 rifle magazine held. In a close-quarters jungle fight, you could burn through all 20 rounds in just a few seconds, which put you right back in that deadly silent pause.
Okay, so you got this life or death problem. What do you do? Well, these soldiers didn't wait around for some official fix to come down from the top. Nope, they innovated. Right there in the mud and the heat, they came up with their own solution. It's just a perfect example of how real ingenuity is born from pure necessity.
And their solution was just, well, brilliant in its simplicity. Here's what they did. They'd take two regular magazines and just cut the bottoms off both of them. Then they'd weld the two main bodies together to make one long tube. The final and most crucial step was getting a single long spring that was strong enough to push all the new rounds up. It was rough, it was improvised, and honestly, it was genius.
So what did all this cutting and welding actually get them? Well, the result of this little battlefield hack was a simple change that was an absolute game changer when the shooting started.
The math here is pretty straightforward, but the impact was huge. You go from 20 rounds to 40 rounds. You've instantly doubled your ability to lay down continuous fire, pushing that deadly reload pause way, way further down the road. But look, this whole thing wasn't really just about carrying more bullets. The real advantage, the true soldier's edge, was about something way more precious, something fundamental to survival.
And that brings us right back to the mission. All of that sawing and welding, it wasn't just about having more firepower. It was about buying time. This was a direct, life-saving attack on the one enemy that mattered most in that moment, the clock.
And this is the bottom line. By doubling their ammo capacity, a soldier bought themselves precious extra seconds of being able to fire back. We're just talking about a few seconds, but in the middle of a firefight, those seconds, they could mean everything. They could mean the difference between coming home and not. A few extra seconds could give a soldier a lifetime of difference.
It's just such an amazing example of how, when the stakes are at their absolute highest, innovation stops being a corporate buzzword and it becomes a survival instinct. It's not planned in a lab, it's forged in the field with a cutting torch. In this case, it looked like two pieces of metal, welded together to become a lifeline, which really makes you wonder, what does ingenuity born from pure necessity really look like?